So here's a video I've been requested to make a lot of times. This isn't satire. This isn't extremely positive twin. I'm being completely serious when I make this video. Just fair warning. Um, so this is a lot of people have asked me to make this, and I don't know why I haven't made this yet. Uh, it's been a while, and I've gotten a lot of requests to make this. A lot of people are curious my relationship with the original Coach Zucchini, because he's called me out 2 times in videos in particular, and that was a long time ago when he called me out in those 2 videos. So basically, it goes back to, I guess let's talk about the creation of Dragon. A few people have asked me this. Why was Dragon named Dragon? Well, I was in 4th grade. Like, this is how long ago this was. I was in 4th grade, and I was one of those Toon Valley people. And I would go in Toon Valley, and I would go around, and I would do, like, join clans and things like that. And there was a medieval times clan, and it was literally spelled med space evil, because you couldn't say medieval for some reason. Anyways, so for some reason, I felt like joining that, and I was like, oh, I know, I'll be the dragon. So then I made a dragon in like literally 2 seconds. It was one of the fastest tunes I've ever made and actually used. And I made him over the summer, and I guess I was just bored, so I made him up. So basically, after Dragon was made, I had about 50 laugh, and I went to, this part's kind of weird, because I remember, if you played original Toontown, you had Nutty River and Nutty Summit. Those were the 2 main ones. For some reason, I couldn't get into either of those that day, and that was quite weird, because usually you could get Nutty Summit, so I went to, like, Nuttyville or something, and I ran into Dipper, like, the actual Dipper, when I was going to do a factory, and I was like, oh, it's Coach Zucchini. And this was so long ago. This was actually when he was accepting friend requests. So I friended him. I did a factory and everything, and it was fine. And I was thinking to myself, this was me in 4th grade, by the way. I was thinking to myself, and I was like, Dipper is like 50 laugh, right? Dipper's only 50 laugh. So what if I recreated Dipper? And this was before all the fakers and everything, because nowadays, and I mean, you can find a faker of literally people who don't play the game on Toontown nowadays. But remember, this was like, I was in 4th grade. This was like 8-9 years ago. So back then, it wasn't, I mean, back then, Toontown YouTubers weren't even a thing. So I don't know if I was the first one to do this. But I didn't get this idea from anyone else. So I was just like, what if I just recreated Dipper? That wouldn't take very long. That would take, like, I would have to get up to, like, 50 laugh. So, actually, and what I actually did is I didn't even get him up to 50 laugh. I just got him to the laugh of him in the video. That's all I did. So, I remade him in, like, 2 days. And basically, what I did is the next time Coach Zucchini was on, and he wasn't on that much, or at least on Dipper. I don't know, he might have been on his other tunes a lot. The last time I was on, it's actually kind of funny to think about that Dragon was at one point on Coach Zucchini's friends list. Next time he was on, I teleported to him on Dragon, and I teleported to him on the fake Dipper. And he was like, he said, and I quote, wow, you must be a really big fan. Now, that's another misconception that people have. A lot of people think I have a seething hatred of Coach Zucchini. I don't. The only reason I made myself Coach Z's evil twin was because he was the most popular Toontown YouTuber at the time. And I was supposed to be the anti-Toontown YouTuber. That's what I was thinking in my mind. It probably would have been anyone else. It was that, and because I did have a weird past with him. But I never disliked Coach Zucchini's evil twin. And we're going to get to this point, and I'm going to explain myself here. But anyways, he was like, you must be a really big fan. So I was like, oh, you want to go to a factory? So I got one of my friends to come. And we were in the factory, and it was a fake Dipper, Dragon, the real Dipper, and one of my friends who I would green a lot of people with, all in a factory. And we made this factory the worst thing ever. Like, I always talk about in Running from the Law, like, don't make it, when I go in Running from the Law, I'm like, don't make it too obvious you're trolling, because you want to green them in the end. But we were literally relentless with this factory. We made it the biggest pain ever. And he stayed around until the foreman when we greened him. And he says that in his final video. Dragon, who invited him into a factory only to green him, he literally talks about the story in the video. I've never expanded on this, or at least I don't think I have. And so we greened him, and it was really funny because my friend who I was doing this with didn't want to green him the whole way through. He was like, I don't know. But then the second we greened him, he was like, oh, okay, that was funny. A lot of people ask, why did you green Coach Zucchini? Well, you have to realize, I was in 4th or 5th grade. It was around there. And when you have, or at least for me, it was just like, I just wanted to be noticed. Greening isn't a bad thing to do. It's just hard. It's breaking the rule. It's breaking the terms of service on Toontown. So when I'm thinking that as a young kid, even though I did like Coach Zucchini, I was just like, I just wanted him to say something in a video. And this is the first time he called me out. He made, shortly after that, it was very, very shortly after that, Coach Zucchini bears some bad news, which he talks about explicitly a fake dipper that is trying to get people on his bad side. Now, I never created the fake dipper to do that. I created the fake dipper just as a joke. It was the first person. I was at least one of the first people to do it on Toontown Original, and I was never doing that. The only real reason I made it was just to show it to him and just to get a reaction, which it did get a reaction out of him. I mean, he ended up making a video. Also, I made a joke about this in Coach Zucchini Kidnaps His Evil Twin. Basically, the first thing he said to me, because I was still friends with him when he greened me, he said, and I quote, in all caps, "You wasted my jelly beans." I'm not kidding. That is exactly what he said. And I was literally on the floor because I was like, wait a second. Even when I was in like 4th grade, I was like, wait a second. You're angry about the jelly beans. Those things that when you're a high laugh, you can get like 1,000 of for defeating cogs. Those things that you could literally get 40 of for doing well in one trolley game. You're angry that I wasted those? You're not angry that I wasted your time, made you go through a really stupid factory? I mean, there are things you can be angry about, don't get me wrong, but why are you angry about the jelly beans? So anyways, I made Bear some bad news, and then I was just kind of, he deleted me. He was actually pretty angry. And one thing I don't understand about Coach Zucchini is he had a seething hatred for me. And okay, let's actually get to this part. So he would always do these parties and everything. And I was on Dragon. And I would go on Dragon, and I would just jump on his head and do things like that. And this would just get an insane reaction out of people. Some people tend to forget this just because it was so long ago. But Dragon was actually a bit infamous when I was way years ago, way before I made my channel. I mean, Dragon's pretty infamous nowadays just because he was my main toon, and people watch my videos nowadays on Toontown. But back in the day, he was actually kind of infamous because a lot of people knew Dragon. People would pass that around in comment sections of videos. People would record videos of me jumping on Coach Zucchini's heads at parties and things like that. And Coach Zucchini would get so angry at me for doing this. And I think that was kind of the main issue. And I don't know why he would get so angry at me, because Coach Zucchini actually would say kind of disgusting things to me. If you actually put it into perspective to how old I was. I mean, I was in 5th grade at the time, and he would say things like, you are obsessed with your own reflection. I remember one time when I first made my channel, he said there's a reason you don't get as many views as me. Like, just random nonsense. And I've talked to people before about this, and I was like, do you think he's just playing up the Coach Zucchini part, or do you think he's actually this angry at me? Now, I don't know how old Coach Zucchini is. I don't think anyone really knows, just because he hasn't exposed his age. But I'm pretty sure, okay, he uses a voice changer, so I'm pretty sure he's at least old enough to have a deep sounding voice to where he didn't want people to know he was that old. So the fact that he got so angry at a young child, I don't really understand that. He probably didn't think I was that young. I've talked about this to people in the past. I don't think he thought I was that young. I thought he thought I was probably like 15 when I was doing that, when in reality I was like 10. But I mean, I was a teenager when I made my channel. I know that for a fact. I mean, I could go through the years and figure it out right now, but that would take too long, and it's not really a point. So, anyways, with it, I would do this from time to time whenever Coach Zucchini did something. I actually went in one of his VP runs, and I went on one of my tunes he didn't know, and I just completely greened them. And he was like, "Oh no!" He was like, because I revealed myself in the Skelecog run. I was like, I am Dragon." And then he was just like, and then the whole VP had to stop. And I don't know if that threw a wrench in his VP marathon thing, because one of the VPs couldn't get completed. But yeah, and that would do the parties. And one thing I did, which was insane. This part was really silly. Where basically what I would say to him is I would be like, hey, and I knew this as a child that I was pretty sure he didn't have this. I would say to him when I'd go to the parties, I would say, "I will stop jumping on your head if you upload the video of me greening you in the factory." Now, even as a child, I knew that he wasn't going to do that, or I knew he might not have even recorded it. And I would just say that as a blatant joke, and he would be like, "No, I will never give you attention." Now, this is in direct contrast to his final video where he blatantly says dragon. So I'm not exactly sure what if that was kind of his subtle nod to me, that he was just like, "Okay, good job, whatever, I'll give you that." Or if he was just actually that angry at me, because he literally gives me a shout out in his final video. He literally gives Coach Zucchini's Evil Twin a shout out in his final video, which is insane for how much he despised me. So yeah. Oh, Coach Zucchini. So, and one thing I do want to say some things this about Coach Zucchini. I do really like Coach Zucchini. You know, when I first watched his videos, I was on the floor laughing. Now, that was in like 3rd grade. I was completely on the floor laughing. A lot of people seem to think I have some seething hatred of him. I don't. He has a seething hatred of me, and he will always have a seething hatred of me, even though I did things to him when I was literally in 5th grade. I literally greened him, which isn't even that big of a deal. It isn't a big deal. In 5th grade, but he still would always hate me. Just based on my interactions with him. And again, I don't know if you're in 5th grade, I don't know. I really don't know. A few other things I want to point out. I was gonna make a discussion video about this. I think I'll just mention it here because I don't know if I can fill up the time for a discussion video. I hate his final video. I think his final video is pretty bad. I think that when you are that big in a community and you literally call out your fans directly, because that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing, guys. The only reason that you're popular on YouTube, that anyone's popular on YouTube, is because of your fans. So to kind of go back on that and be like, you know what? I'm quitting because of fans. It's like, oh, I mean, because at that point, I don't necessarily think they are fans if they are really that bad. He mentions in his building marathon that people were only going towards him, only doing buildings with Fat Peanut Pickle Pop. And I guess that's annoying, but you have to understand that someone who is actually going to participate in a building marathon is probably only going to want to participate to see you, Coach Zucchini. That's the only reason they would go to a building marathon, is to see you. And especially, the only person who's probably going to go to that is a young child, too. You know, that's not really a big deal to see someone on Toontown. That's not being, because it's not being recorded. I mean, if it's like a live stream, I could see why people would want to just get on and, you know, be involved in that. But if it's just a building, I think it was like a field office thing, and they had to clear out all the field offices. I mean, I feel like anyone who'd go to that would be a young child. I mean, people always get on my case when I say this game was made for 9 through 12-year-olds, which it was. And they say, well, the community nowadays is older. And yeah, a lot of older people do play this game. But it was still a game made for 9 through 12-year-olds. And especially years and years ago when field offices first came out. I mean, yeah, the only people who are going to come are the young. So I do think that's kind of self-centered to say, to be like, oh yeah, I'm quitting because of the fans. I know that he did that. What that wasn't the main reason for him quitting. I know the main reason for him quitting was Toontown, was Disney itself. But that always rubbed me the wrong way when he said, "Oh, fans," because I just I never liked that, because it was like, you wouldn't even be talking, people wouldn't even be listening to you if it weren't for fans. So why are you even bringing that up? He greened the red monkey. That's another thing. For some reason, I would always bring this up to him. He would never admit to greening the red monkey. Let me put that to rest right now. He did green the red monkey. I don't care that he greened the red monkey. I think he should have greened the red monkey. But the thing with greening the red monkey is Coach Zucchini's number one rule is always follow the high tune. Okay? He didn't do anything at the end of the factory. He did not do anything at the end of the factory. So always follow the high tune. Wait, but you didn't click anything. He also didn't even mention any speed chat phrases for the red monkey to even do. So he wasn't like, let's use throw, and then, the monkey used throw. He didn't do anything. He didn't try to give any assistance. And again, I say, if no one's doing anything, if you're sneaking through the factory, yeah, you should green him. But for some reason, Coach Zucchini is so to the other point, and literally will not. I'm pretty sure to this day, I haven't asked him in a while. I'm pretty sure to this day he will say, no, I did not green the red monkey. No, Coach Zucchini, you did green the red monkey. It was justified, but you did green the red monkey. That's just how it is. I don't know why he's so opposed to admitting something so small like that. I mean, it's recorded on your channel. And then he even says at the end of the video, "Oh, well, you're so mean." Like, he's like in like reactions, and he was like, "Oh, people are gonna say, Coach Zucchini, you're so mean." And then he was like, "Well, that's mean to sneak your way in the factory." And yeah, I agree. If someone is rude like that to you, you should have every right to green them. But it's still greening. Just because you have the right to green someone doesn't make it not greening. This isn't Toontown in terms of service. Greening by association is against the rules. Anyways, I think that's everything. If you have any other questions, you can ask me in the comments. I think I covered pretty much everything about the backstory of Coach C's evil twin. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great day.